What's up, Savage Nation? Savage Civilian back with another new video. Today I want to go over a topic that I brought up a couple nights ago with a friend, and I dug pretty deep on it. And that is, how much ammunition do you really need? Now, I'm not talking about for those that train and are using it for training ammo. I'm talking about a shit hits the fan scenario. How much are you stockpiling? How are you stockpiling it? How are you holding it, etc. And the reason I bring this up is I have thousands and thousands and thousands of rounds of ammunition. I actually have an entire tool chest cabinet full of 1,000-round cases. But that's for training. That's not for a real-world shit-hits-the-fan situation. That's because I shoot quite often throughout the month, usually a couple thousand rounds. And I buy it in bulk because it's cheaper, and I like to know that if I'm using some, I have a surplus and don't need to order more or go to the store right away. I buy it in thousands, not in boxes. But in a situation where there's a grid down scenario, or like we say, The Walking Dead happens, or you're going to bug out or bug in, or whatever the case may be, how much ammo do you really need? And quite frankly, I don't think it's much. And the reason I say this is for multiple reasons. There's going to be two sides to this. If you're bugging in and you watched our last video about rural versus urban, and you're in a rural area where you have a homestead, or you're in a cul-de-sac with relatives or friends or part of your prepper community or whatever the case may be, yeah, you may want some more. But if you're in an urban area and you live in a high-rise, or you live in an apartment complex, or a very populated area that has a couple 100,000 people in it, you really don't need much. I would say, realistically, something along the lines of 500 rounds. And people are going to laugh. I get it. People are going to say that's ridiculous. You need 10,000 rounds, blah, 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 blah. I use these Save Your Range bags. These hold 250 to 550 rounds, depending on what you have. Unless it's 22, obviously a lot more. But this is 5.56. There's about 250 rounds in here. There's about 550 rounds of 9mm in here. I will link these below if you want them. They are amazing quality. I have a ton of them. I bring them to the range, etc. But I fill these with ammo and label them. I would honestly argue that one of these in 5.56 or 308, or if you use an AR-10, whatever caliber you choose, and one of these in 9mm, if that's your carry, I carry a Glock or a Staccato, which are both 9mm, is sufficient for any real-world situation. The reason I say that is, for one, I'm going to have a chest rig or a chest kit or something on me that's going to have a 120, 150 rounds already, plus my rifle. My pistol is going to have a mag in it. My battle belt has mags in it as well. My backpack, I keep a couple mags in it. The reality of us getting into a firefight where we need 1,000 rounds and we're going to live is so far-fetched and unrealistic. The reality that I live on a homestead with just my girlfriend or my wife or my children or a couple family members, and I'm using 3,000 rounds and I have 2,500 bodies stacked up outside and it doesn't draw attention, is so unrealistic. Unless, like I said, you're talking like a true Walking Dead and you're fucking killing zombies. It's just so unrealistic. A chest kit, to me, is more than sufficient for what I need to do, because if I'm in a firefight that I need more than 100 rounds, for one, the attention, it's over. The gray man, all that shit's out the window. And for two, I'm probably not going to make it. Let's be real. None of us are John Wick. I carry a gun for a living. I shoot a lot. But I'm not a movie star John Wick. At the end of the day, I'm going to get hit. And I'll be a loot drop of whatever I have left, right? I would say if you're in your vehicle, you want to keep 500 to 1,000 rounds in a range bag or something, bug out bag, whatever the case may be. Something like one of these in each is plenty. Another thing, you're in an apartment complex. Like I said, we're in an urban area now. You have 5,000 rounds of ammo. You got 60 seconds to bug out. How do you plan to carry hundreds of pounds of ammunition to a car? Or, realistically, on foot? Because you're probably not going to be able to take a car anywhere. If you live in a city and there's a shit hits the fan situation, even during a blackout, traffic's gridlocked, you're not driving anywhere, you're going somewhere on foot. You're getting somewhere on foot. And you're not going to carry 400 pounds of ammo. You'd be way better off carrying 30 pounds of ammo and 100 pounds of water and food. So we have to come up with a reality here, and I'm really interested to what you guys think of this, on how much ammo is the right amount. And that's where I came to this conclusion that I personally feel, and I would love to hear your intake below, that 500 rounds on you is more than enough. If you're in a car and you're out in a rural area where you could actually drive around and you have fuel to maintain the car, whatever the case may be, a little more may be fine. If you were in a house like mine that's out also in a rural area where I don't have a lot of neighbors, I'm not in a big city, again, more than 500 may be fine. But in a real life situation where I need to get the hell out of my house in 60 seconds, or I got a couple hours to bug out, or I'm going on foot, 99% of that ammo is getting left behind for the next person. Do I stock thousands of rounds? Yes. That is not for shit hits the fan. That is for training purposes. I want to be proficient with my rifle, proficient with my handgun, proficient with my guns. It's not because I'm going to be carrying it all. Can it be used for barter? Again, absolutely. But again, you have to weigh that line of how much of it are you actually going to be able to carry. Because you don't want to start not being able to carry water. You don't want to start tiring yourself out. You don't want to start not being able to carry food or carry an IFAK kit or any of that because you're just carrying ammunition. Because in reality, it's just going to get taken from you. And, I mean, that's my take on it, man. I think, again, I'm beating a dead horse with it, but one of these in each caliber, whether you carry 45, 49, whatever the case may be, a couple hundred rounds, and a couple hundred rounds for your rifle, is sufficient enough for you to survive any realistic situation, whether it be a collapse, a martial law, a purge type scenario, some lawless stuff, an invasion, like what happened in Ukraine. That's why I think it's a lot more proficient to practice and use what you have rather than stockpiling. Having all this stuff and not being proficient with it, or not being able to use it the right way, or know how to use it, or know how to fix your gun, etc. And another big thing with that is fitness. My focus this year is heavy on fitness. I want to lose more weight. I want to be faster. I want to be more proficient, because if I lose a fight to a flight of stairs, I'm not worth anything. So I want to be faster. I want to be better. I want to be a better shot. I want better mental health. This is all a lot more important to you surviving than having 10,000 rounds of ammo in the closet in a rifle that you shoot 3 times a year. That's my hot take. I see a ton of videos on here where guys are saying you need thousands and thousands and thousands of rounds. And I personally think it's bullshit unless it's just for training purposes. I'm very curious to see what you guys think. Drop a like as always. Drop a comment below. I'd love to discuss it more with you. And I'll see you on the next video.